Welcome back to the Time Warp Valley Challenge, where we randomize every single day in Stardew Valley and attempt to complete the community center. Last time, we made a lot of progress in the foraging and fishing bundles, but discovered the hardest part of the challenge: crops. They need back-to-back days in a season to grow, so some of them have astronomical odds. And there's not really a good way around it. If you're thinking about the greenhouse, which grows crops in any season, it's gated by the pantry bundles, which require the crops that we would need to grow in said greenhouse. Very chicken and egg there. Though now that I'm thinking about it, the greenhouse would unlock the Spirit's Eve bundle, since you could finish up the pantry bundles first and then grow crops for the bulletin board. So the 10 corn doesn't have to be a death sentence. Garden pots can grow crops from any season when they're indoors, but Evelyn doesn't teach you how to make them until after you complete the greenhouse, so same issue. And Ginger Island is locked until you've completed the community center, which is the entire point of the challenge. With no way around, we're in for a pretty intense grind, but that's still a long way off. So for now, we've got to figure out what's going on in year 2 since we just jumped over. And I guess it's not all bad because now we have Kent, which doesn't really affect the challenge, but cool, he's here. What could help us out is that we actually had all of our weeds regrow since we naturally jumped over seasons. Our day randomizer mod picked winter 28, and then the game jumped over to spring 1, triggering all the normal growth. On the flip side, yeah, all the materials in shops have gone between 2 and 5 times more expensive, so that kinda sucks. It would have been really convenient to buy 200 stone from Robin for our first legendary fish pond. But on the flip side, all of the grass regrew, so our mistake of harvesting in the winter is redeemed. Year 2 is definitely a mixed bag. Time to carefully prune out all of the green grass in our enclosure to make room for the bluegrass, pet all of the chickens, and check our hay, which we have so much more than I thought we should. Turns out, as I was clearing the farm a couple nights ago, we picked up way more hay than I thought we would. Also, you normally have to stock up enough hay to survive 28 days in winter, but since we're jumping around, it's just not that critical. Grass is regrowing all the time. That being the case, on my next attempt, I'll probably deprioritize the silo since their friendship won't decay that quickly with only a quarter of the days being winter. Clearing up around these green rain tree saplings brings me to realize that moss is also going to be really difficult, since every single winter day will just remove it from all of our trees. We're probably just gonna have to plant a bunch of tree farms or get really lucky with green rain events, but our forage loop does yield this leek, which we need for the spring foraging bundle. Time to head down to Clint's to turn in our inspecting ores quest, and we get a bit of money. And speaking of money, we'll spend a little bit on this axe upgrade since it gives us access to mahogany seeds. We'll focus on mining until he's done upgrading it. Over here, the special orders board has refreshed, but today is the beginning of a year. So I think no matter what we roll tomorrow, we're gonna lose it. But it'll be nice to test. On our way around the forest, we picked up this book, Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Thick, which gives you a +1 in defense. Pretty sick because each level in defense reduces damage taken by 1. And with these spring onions, we now have everything we need for the spring foraging bundle. If we can finish the craft room bundles early, getting access to the quarry would be really nice for the challenge, and help us accelerate our pace. Since we're collecting items from every season, we're out of storage again, so it's time to build a couple more chests and do a little more organizing. We'll slap down an extra fishing chest since you always run out of space there, and the white chest is going to be for valuables and egg products. Next, we'll donate everything we need for the spring bundle, and now's a good time to show our progress. I like to wait to donate items until I have the entire bundle, so with some of the forage we've stocked up, we're about 1/5 of the way through. Since today is day 12, this challenge should only take us about 60 days, right? These spring seeds aren't particularly useful, but we can sell them for a little bit of profit. Linus is hoping we have a spare daffodil, and there just so happens to be one right here, so we'll go ahead and give it to him immediately. Ooh, I love that efficiency.
Ooh, that's good.
We won't need this prize ticket for the helper bundle until we have 5 mystery boxes, so that fruit tree is looking kind of nice. And I put on this hat since we got it so early, but the fedora is not really my style. Our mine expedition only made it down a few floors, and that's partly because it's bad luck, but also this sword is garbage. So let's upgrade it by grabbing this femur. It's not too expensive and it's gonna help out a ton. We're not too far from earning the insect head, but this will get us there quicker. Day 13 jumps us back into winter and confirms that the special order boards quests are tracking off the calendar, not after how many days have passed. so we'll have to implement a custom tracker in the mod to fix it. We'd love to knock out Holly because it's our last winter forage, and since while I need rain, there's no fish to be caught. It's looking like a little foraging and then mining day. And on our way up to the mines, we get pretty lucky, snagging our first Holly immediately. Since we're missing other parts of the bundle, we'll wait to donate it until we have it all. Buying this femur was totally worth it, and now that we're killing faster, it's more likely these bugs drop ancient seeds, which would be super nice to start stocking up on because hitting a 1 in 177 chance is probably going to be the toughest part of the challenge. Reaching level 20 gives us this steel small sword, but it's not better than our femur, so we'll continue to use that and get down to floor 25. Every time we see these weeds, we should harvest them for fiber since we lost our farm ones to today being winter. Overall, a good day in the mines. Earlier, we picked up this sugar shirt, and I've never seen it before. Absolutely not. That's super creepy to have a belly face. Since we don't care about the museum for this challenge, we'll sell all of our geodes because we could use the cash over any ore they contain. That cash gives us the greenhorn achievement and our copper axe is ready. It's our 14th day and we're back in summer, so we need to look out for these forageables and the pufferfish. Since we're nowhere near gold bars for the bundle, this iron bar is probably more useful for tool upgrades at the moment. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and get our pickaxe upgraded as well as grab everything we could donate for the bundles and to the museum. In a stroke of luck on the way over, we're able to pick up a grape, spice berry, and sweet pea, so that's everything for the summer bundle. I'd thought that we'd also finish the winter bundle, but we swapped crocus for holly, so we still need a crystal fruit. But even so, I'd say we're moving along nicely. While we're not finishing the museum in this challenge, a little money never hurt. Next, we'll pop over to Clint's to pick up our copper axe and start our pickaxe upgrade. Since the mines are tough without a pickaxe, we're limited to foraging and fishing for the next few days. And I don't know about you, but I've done so much fishing in Stardew Valley that I can kind of tell what the fish is going to be from the way that it acts. This feels like a puffer fish. So that's one more for our bundles. It's the only new fish we can pick up in summer, so let's pivot over to foraging because this axe upgrade gives us access to hardwood. And when you're harvesting these stumps, you can even get a mahogany seed. We'll need those because we want to start a hardwood farm as soon as possible. They're also a great source of experience because it only takes 7 hits but gives you 25 foraging experience compared to the 10 of a normal tree. We don't get a mahogany seed until our 9th stump, but that checks out since they have a 10% chance of dropping. It's crazy how much energy early foraging takes, so we're gonna have to replenish it. That was close. And so we don't forget, let's get this seed into the ground immediately and eat some of our cheaper fish. Next time, it could be wise to delay fishing and focus on building up passive income streams, but the extra fish is useful. Later that evening, we're once again visited by the Lord of Owls. I'll praise the owl god. I like to think he's watching over the challenge.
I'm always watching, my child.
Since we're entirely out of energy, we'll head back to stash our goodies. And we got 38 hardwood today. This is a time challenge and it feels wasteful to go to bed this early, so we can smelt up some more and get this recycling machine online. We have a ton of trash since we're fishing so much, and it'll be nice to get some early coal, iron, and cloth. I also like to put my machines across from their corresponding chests so it's quicker to process. The recycling machine did cost us our iron bar, but if we're lucky it'll replace it pretty quickly. Gaining level 4 in foraging is really important for our challenge because it unlocks tappers to make tree saps and the mushroom log. They are going to be invaluable to us, but first we're going to have to solve the moss problem, since they take 10 hardwood and 10 moss to build. Normally, I wait for a lot of moss to build up all over the valley and then I harvest it in a big loop for efficiency. But about a quarter of our days are going to be winter, which removes the moss. The good news is it looks like going into winter doesn't actually change the growth stage on the tree, which is what gives them a chance to become mossy every day. So hopefully we can counteract it with a ton of green rain trees and a massive tree farm. But our end goal is a ton of mushroom logs, so we'll have to keep strategizing. The summer foraging bundle gave us a bunch of seeds we can sell, and day 15 is a rainy fall day, which is incredible because you can catch catfish and walleye. They say a journey of 1,000 steps begins with a mile or something, I don't know. But at least our green rain trees have started to sprout. And now that we have a bit of money, it's time to strategize what to do with it.
What would I do with it?
I would probably invest into something that makes a lot of cash passively. So we could either upgrade a barn, buy a fish pond, or unlock the fish smoker. The first option is great because it gives us extra farming experience and extra eggs or milk depending on if we upgrade the coop or the barn first. But it adds a lot of extra busy work every day while we have a lot of other paths to pursue, and the upgrades get expensive quickly. For our third option, the fish smoker doubles the price of every fish we've caught, including their quality in the equation. That's a massive upgrade while we're fishing so much, but we're missing that stupid cave jelly, which can only be grabbed on floor 100. We're way too far off for that to be viable. So our best bet is going to be a fish pond, especially since we can stock it with legendary fish. Right now, we're just one seaweed away. Since it's still early, let's handle our chickens like we do every day, which is getting us pretty close to level 2. And on top of being a rainy fall day, it's also a Friday, which means we need to check the traveling cart in case she's got something rare we need. From here on out, if there's nothing we need, I'll skip past it, but trust me, I'm checking every single day. Today, both the cactus fruit and the oyster can be put into our bundles, but both of them have plenty of options, so we're better off saving our cash for now. And since today is going to be pretty busy, we'll go ahead and hit this warp totem. Down at the beach, we get a sick artifact spot that gets us closer to that blacksmith bundle. And we pick up that oyster that we almost bought from Suki, so we saved a couple bucks, which we immediately used to buy a bit of bait since we're running low. Then we fished until we got the last seaweed we need. Since Robin's closes, we'll construct that before we do any more fishing. And if you haven't messed around with the new legendary fish ponds, let's just say they're busted. Building this probably marks the next stage of our challenge where we grow exponentially. Our next hurdle is that we have no legendary fish, so we'll come here for the angler. This is not it, but it is pretty difficult, which means it's our first catfish. With that caught, we just need a walleye now, and a few fish later we snag it too. That's everything for the bundles, so that leaves us with the angler. The good news is that it's the easiest of all legendary fish to catch, so even at level 5 it won't be too difficult. Honestly, sometimes these catfish are harder than that guy, but with this much fishing we easily hit level 6. We casted for the rest of the day and came back with a nice haul of fishies, and we'll store one of each of the bundle fish along with the angler for later. All these iridium quality walleye we snagged are really good for energy, so we'll keep them as our stash. But everything else is getting sold. This one definitely feels like one of the biggest days of the challenge because we got so much done. And as a nice reward, it's great to unlock the bait maker so we can specifically target bullheads from here on out. Not to mention that this trap bobber is going to make a lot of legendary fish possible to catch. And we basically paid for that pond in one day of fishing. On day 16, we're feeling lucky. And because it's the first of summer, it means we rolled over into more debris. Being as there's nothing we really need from summer anymore for our bundles, the day is ours. Since it's lucky, the mine seems like the logical option so we can delve deeper, especially since our pickaxe is ready. But it's been bugging me that moss is going to be more difficult in this challenge since we're going to need a ton of it, so I think first let's get a tree farm going. I like this bottom left corner for our eventual farm animal pens, which means the top is open for our tree farm. Speaking of farm animals, we should pet ours, so we hit level 2 because that unlocks the mayo machine, making our eggs way more valuable. But back to the trees, we'll start clearing out this section above the lake. And we're using the sword because it's more efficient for clearing out the grass. We're pretty much maxed out on hay anyway. Then we'll start laying down seeds and remove only the necessary trees and debris. I know, it's debris, but we're leaving them since older trees produce moss. On this row, we're leaving 3 spaces because it's where we're gonna put down our mushroom logs, once we get there. Now that that's done, it's 2:30, so we have to rush over to Clint's to make sure we can pick up our pickaxe in time. It seems we have plenty, so we'll grab this Cave Crab Quest 2. That's another tongue twister for you. Cave Crab Quest, see? Anyway, it pairs nicely with our mining day, which should be made easier with this copper pickaxe and great luck. Since I knew we were going to be passing the community center today, I brought all of our fish for the bundles for maximum efficiency.
If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help.
And with that, we're done with the night and river fish bundles. We're rewarded with not having to stumble around blind anymore. Down in the dark, we focus on picking up earth crystals for our mayonnaise machines, finish up the insect monster slayer goal for the insect head, and immediately pick up this forest sword. It's not better than the insect head, but we'll use it for now. We're only putting about a third of our day into the mines, but since it's lucky, we ended up getting 10 floors all the way down to 35. It was also a great haul of minerals. We're definitely not making it back in time, but at least the world's a bit brighter. Normally, I'm more excited for these sprinkler recipes, but the mayo machine is awesome for this run, and sprinklers are pretty useless. Today is day 17, and we're kind of done with the scavenger hunt portion of our challenge, which feels momentous. Now we're focusing on making more money. That way we can keep purchasing upgrades like this iridium rod that Willie now sells. Since the layout is so convenient, we've been smelting up a lot of copper bars recently, which is good because both the mayo machine and the tapper require them. Since we only have 4 chickens, 4 mayonnaise machines should be able to handle their output every day, and our next tool upgrades are going to be an iron, so we can use the rest of the copper bars for these tappers. We'll place these guys here to maintain our layout, and they take 3 hours to process, but over triple the value of your eggs, so they're a no-brainer since all of our farming experience is coming from animals. And we'll place these tappers nearby for visibility on each of the 3 types of trees. I'd like to wait until it's 2 p.m. so the Adventurers Guild is open, so until then we'll clear out the green grass once again, since this is where we're gonna put our animals eventually. It's been long enough for our eggs to process, so we'll swap them over on our way up. And there's a new special orders quest, but neither of these have great rewards and it's early spring, so we'll probably lose it tomorrow anyway. Since we're now starting to process our eggs, we should probably donate 10 now to this Home Cooks bundle so we don't forget. That would be embarrassing. Up at the Adventurers Guild, we can sell our spare weapons and grab our new insect head from Gil. It's so much better than the forest sword that we can go ahead and sell that too. And now we'll lock into the mines where we hit level 4 immediately. Pick up a red mushroom we needed for that foraging bundle, and make it past 40. Since we don't have access to cheap materials anymore, we have to hit these rocks whenever we see them. They currently take 6 hits, but getting 10 stone is invaluable for our next fish pond. If you've played Stardew, you know that these frozen levels usually start a grind on the dust sprites, since killing 500 of them unlocks a ring that doubles your monster drops. Normally, it's quite the slog, but since we're going out of order, we could technically finish up the Prismatic Slime quest first, which unlocks Monster Musk. That doubles the number of monsters on each floor, making this grind way easier. And I do love that even though crops are going to be incredibly difficult in this challenge, some of the other things are going to be a little bit quicker, or at least more convenient. It's striking that nice balance. It's also getting pretty late, but we did get from level 35 all the way down to level 50 today, which is great progress. So we'll take our new Tundra boots and check out this shirt we got. Listen, it's not as bad as the last one we got, but it does clash with our pants, so no thanks. Today was definitely a massive success since we got so far down and ended up with 30 iron ore, so let's once again pass out. When I first started playing, I used to hate to pass out, but now I just see it as paying a little extra money for more time today, which was worth it since we leveled up in mining and combat. We made a little bit of cash with some summer seeds since we're done with the foraging bundles, but more interestingly, we just went back one day. We were on spring 3. Day 18 is gonna start off with some smelting, and it's time to get another furnace to speed this process up. Our legendary fish pond has also started producing, and these roe are worth a lot on their own, but it would be amazing to get a preserves jar. The recipe is logged behind level 4 farming, so we're not that close there, and you can get one from finishing up a bundle, but it's our ancient fruit one, so no dice. Since we have a lot of copper and I'm an impatient man, we'll go ahead and make up another furnace to speed production. And while we're waiting for everything to smelt, we'll clear off the grass yet again. Collecting all of this puts us at 5 iron for the day, so we could do our next tool upgrade, especially if we sell all that mayo. Since our copper pickaxe is pretty good for the levels in the mine we're at, we'll go ahead and do the steel axe as it unlocks the secret woods and more hardwood. And I'm debating picking up this crab pot right now so we can finish up a bundle, but we can't finish all the fishing bundles until we hit the desert, so we'll hold off for now. We'll fish the rest of the day, hitting level 7, and by using the training rod, we can focus on picking up seaweed for our next fish pond. If you're able to find some bubbles, it's really good. We pick up 8 total today, which is enough for our next pond, and head off to bed. Whew, we have done a lot in this challenge. It's busy, chaotic, and even more fun than I thought it would be when I was cooking it up. If you're also having fun, consider subscribing so you don't miss any future moments. Okay, that's enough of a break. Back into the challenge. Day 19 starts off with a dilemma from Demetrius about what to do with our farm cave. Going mushrooms for the dehydrator would be nice, but The fruit bat cave can give us a lot of the fruits we're going to need for the artisan bundle, so we'll go with that one. We now have everything we need to get another fish pond, and even though it's a Tuesday, as long as we time it right, Robin will be around to start our second one. Now all we have to do is figure out what to put in it. Before we hit the mines again, let's check the special orders board, and it's not really one we want, but we could improve our odds of getting the prismatic slime quest if we pick up and complete this cave patrol quest today. That way there's less in the pool for it to pick from. It's pretty quick if you just reset on floors 15 and 25, and an added bonus is that if you're lucky, you can pick up an ancient seed. Now, normally this is a bigger deal, because you can plant this one and then use the fruit that it gives you to propagate more with seed makers, but we don't have that luxury. So we're gonna need hundreds of these in order to fight against the odds. About 7 in-game hours later, we're done with the Grubs quest, and I didn't realize it gives you so much gold. That was definitely worth it. With the rest of the day, we'll push down in the mines to get a little deeper since we want to get to floor 80, then free the dwarf from his prison and pass out. A classic. But we didn't level up today, so we're gonna have less energy tomorrow. But that's fine since we now have extra fish. We're back to fall in day 20, and it's a funny reminder of how we started. I know you're saying it starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's not actually a real thing. Thanks, old me. Most mornings, I spend some time on the farm to get it cleaned up and think about what to do for the day. We're getting pretty close to finishing up the boiler room bundles, and because we're going all over the place, the mine carts it unlocks would be a huge benefit. So we'll definitely hit the mines again today. We probably should have respected a special orders cooldown, but we did get the prismatic jelly quest today, which is massive. I guess since we can lose them pretty quickly, it's fair to grab them quickly right now too until they're fixed. Donating that ancient seed from yesterday gives us access to the recipe and a single seed, so I guess we're now on our way.
I guess.
Though we can't plant it until we're level 10 in farming. And we even remembered to pick up our steel axe, which to me is sometimes the hardest part about upgrading tools. Our pickaxe upgrade will have to wait, since today we need to finish up this prismatic slime quest and get down deeper. Resetting these elevator floors is kind of boring, but it does have its perks, and since we're killing the dust sprites we see, we end up hitting level 5. At 10 PM, we finally find him. These guys are a pain in the butt to kill, but luckily our insect head makes it quicker. Unluckily for us, it's way too late to turn the quest into the wizard, and probably too late to get any deeper into the mines today, so we'll just kill some monsters. Which does reward us with the final 2 gold ore we need to be able to make that gold bar for the blacksmith bundle. We don't always have to let our greed get the best of us, so tonight we'll actually head home on time. Especially because it means we can actually sell the mayonnaise we've been accumulating. And since our special orders board quests seem to disappear if you go past them in the season you pick them up, we have to hope to avoid late fall or winter when we wake up tomorrow. Otherwise, we fail the prismatic slime quest. Ooh, we'll take spring any day. And all this cash. Spring 18 to finish up our 3rd week is just fine, and we'll save these bars for later because we can't finish up the boiler room bundles anyway, until we pick up that fire quartz. But we do have plenty of cash and iron to be able to upgrade our pickaxe, which will help us mine down to the lava levels. Excitingly, our second fish pond is now ready. And since we have no legendary fish, we'll put these clams in as they have a chance to drop seaweed. Hopefully they'll help us build our next pond. While clearing off the farm, we ended up picking up a magma geode, which could have a fire quartz in it. But more importantly, we haven't checked the bat cave yet.
And I definitely didn't consider it when I was making the mod.
According to the wiki, there's only a 50-50 chance of getting new fruit if you have nothing there, so maybe we're just unlucky. Digging into the code, it looks like it should stack up just fine. We also now have the steel pickaxe, which lets us harvest these large logs, giving us further chance at hardwood and mahogany seeds. Just not this time. But since we're headed down here anyway to turn in our quest, we might as well open up the secret woods. On top of all the extra hardwood this is going to supply every day, and a chance at mahogany seeds from killing the slimes here, the woods contain some of our bundle goods, including some species of mushroom, fiddlehead ferns, and of course the wood skip fish. Today, we're lucky enough to pick up 2 mahogany seeds right at the end. We'll skip the wood skip for now because we have a shiny quest to turn in, which is much more important, especially because this one rewards you with 5,000 gold. There's definitely an argument to be made about starting off with special order quests early into your run, so you start off with a lot of cash. Although we do need one of these prize tickets for the bundle, we could spend a couple or all 3, and then that would give us enough mystery boxes to complete the bundle, but not a prize ticket. We're finishing up lots of quests, so we'll go ahead and get the boxes. And it is a long shot, but we could get that fire quartz out of this magma geode. Maybe sometimes good things happen to good people. Or not. I'm not that good anyway. They say that most gamblers quit before striking it rich, so we can gamble one of these boxes since we have 6. I'd say that one paid off, but it feels like enough gambling for now. So let's upgrade our pickaxe, and we have so much money that we can actually head down to Willie's to get our iridium rod. We can make a trap bobber, but sometimes it's nice just to buy one and save the copper. And there's something about spending money that makes you want to spend some more, so we'll go ahead and pick up this crab pot to save our iron. We only need 1 fish from it for the bundles, but we'll place it here since we pass by often. And the rest of the day we're going to spend foraging since we have no pickaxe. Which turns out to be a wonderful idea because we pick up this sick gold breastplate. I like how it looks, and it fits the theme that we're making so much money right now. Now that it's later, we'll make sure to get our important trees into the ground, like these mahogany seeds and our fruit tree. And we've got a minute or two, so we'll expand out our tree farm. Remember when I said I was the epitome of greed? I wasn't exaggerating, so we pass out. But we did hit level 5 in foraging, which gives us 25% more wood. This will be really critical later on because we're going to need a ton of hardwood. And at least we replace the money we lose from passing out. Day 22 moves us back into spring and gives us our first tapper product, pine tar. That bundle has a lot of options, so we may or may not use it. What we definitely are using today is the kale and sunflowers that the traveling merchant has. Neither one is critical since they either grow pretty quickly or can be grown in multiple seasons, but one click is certainly much quicker. Since we're already down here, we'll pop by the secret woods to pick up this wood skip and all of the hardwood. Next over in town, our crab pot has a snail for us, which means we're done with the crab pot bundle. But in a stroke of irony, there's also a cockle on the beach, which would have completed it too. So we didn't really need that crab pot. No time to be salty because we have a second fish pond ready, and we need to be ready to catch the crimson fish or the glacier fish depending on our next seasons. So this 300 wood will help us build over to the tide pools. Being able to forage over here gives us access to coral and sea urchins, which are invaluable for making bait makers. Targeting the fish you want speeds up your money and experience. But it's confession time, since I want to be honest with you. I was doing most of this stuff because I thought it was summer and could hook the crimson fish. But right around here, I realized that it's spring and we can't pick them up. So we're ready now. Spending the rest of the afternoon foraging means we'll have plenty of wood when we go for our coop and barn upgrades, and it's also a great way to get seeds that we need to fill out our tree farms. These trees can't propagate down here, so we're basically moving them to our farm where they can drop seeds. It also means we hit level 6 in foraging, so we're looking pretty even other than our poor farming experience. That draws us once again to bed. Since our challenge ends at the community center, getting a lot of batteries isn't super useful, but at least we can protect our farm and sell them for a profit, I guess. Similar to the fall seeds. We'll never grow them, but they are valuable. And it's kind of unfortunate that we're staying in spring, since we would have loved to pick up a legendary fish. The spring fish is the legend, and it requires level 10, so we'll have to work on our angling before targeting it. This morning, our clam pond really overestimated its value, requesting 5 clay. So instead, they're getting tossed back into that smelly box. A 2 to 8% chance at some seaweed is definitely not worth that much clay.
You're fired!
On a cheerier note, one of our trees has finally matured enough to give us some moss, and we'll spend a bunch of the day getting rid of the green grass again. That way, it's nothing but bluegrass propagating. And on a fantastic note, the traveling merchant is here with some melons and an apple. The melon's kind of been our mascot for explaining how hard this challenge is gonna be, so I don't have to explain it to you how big this is. But unfortunately, we don't have enough left over for this apple. Now we could get it from a tree or our bat cave, but I think it's worth making up some emergency funds with these eggs we're carrying and snagging it. While it's nowhere near as rare, we'll always take a morel for our exotic foraging bundle, and we'll head over to Clint's to pick up our steel pickaxe now that it's done. For the rest of the day, we're going to be devoting it to seeds since we've done so much deforestation.
Hey,
You get some pretty good mining experience from the rocks in the farm, so we hit level 5. And in the main tree farm, we're up to 4 rows before it's time for bed, where there's almost no competition between geologist and miner because we need ore for our upgrades.
Upgrades, people, upgrades.
And legendary fish row is insane for the effort you put in. This is just 4 of them. I'm definitely building them earlier next playthrough, but today is summer, so we can finally pick up that crimson fish on day 24. What's kind of funny is that yesterday was spring 28 and today is summer 1, so we jumped to the right day. I checked the logs and the mod is still working, so I guess we just hit that 1 in 112 chance that this happens. It's also the first of a season, so hopefully there's not too much extra debris laying around that we have to clear out of our tree farm again. It's getting kind of ridiculous. I've been checking the farm cave every day and it's been empty until today, so at least we know it's working. Next up, we snagged the secret note that lets us meet Mr. Ki, whatever his name is, down on floor 100. And it's been a while since we donated to the community center, so let's go and get caught back up there. On the way over, we always check our special orders board, and this quest gives us teleporters, which would be pretty nice if we can pull it off. And to save some time, here's a summary of everything we donate since the last time. Most notably, we're almost done with the crafts room, fish tank, and boiler room bundles. And as a reminder, we're only on day 24, which is normally towards the end of spring. We're way ahead of the vanilla Stardew Valley pace in most places, but our pantry bundle's looking pretty sad. This time, we're rewarded with Autumn's bounties, a charcoal kiln, some crab pots, and a star drop tea that we'll definitely be giving to Caroline. But time is flying, and we still need to pick up that crimson fish today if we want to fill out our fish pond. Compared to the anglerfish, this guy is no joke, and we failed to catch him a couple of times before finally lucking out. On the way back to the farm, we started musing about the crops bundles we're going to need to complete, and the fact that Caroline can mail you spring crops. Yeah, so basically the only one we do really need to get friendship with is Caroline. Good to know. And we will still need to get a green bean, but actually green bean I think is possible. It's like either 1 in 20 or 1 in 60 to grow it. So it's like, it's not great, but it's doable. I'm totally wrong here. Green beans take 6 nights to grow, so it's like 1 in 4,000. We're pretty much reliant on the traveling cart. Nothing we can do about it right now, so we'll just toss the crimson fish into his new home and head off for bed. As luck would have it, the next morning is winter, which means we could pick up the glacier fish. It's the next legendary fish, and we have enough materials to make it a pond. And winter also gives us a good chance to show off what we've done so far. Our tree farm is coming along nicely, and though it's going pretty slowly, we do end up hitting level 3 in farming today. We'll have to ramp this up once we have enough money, since it's going to become a limiting factor. Moving back to our main goal for the day, we're going to go for the glacier fish, but in difficulty, it's another level above even the crimson fish. I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at fishing in Stardew Valley after playing this many hours, but sometimes these legendary fish get away from you. And we got lucky in hooking it 4 times in a row, but we failed on every single attempt until our trap bobber had worn out. Without it, this thing's impossible, so we'll run by Willie's to pick up another one. Or 2. And this trout soup, to help out too. We'll give it another try with all of these bonuses. It's still gonna be kind of tough, but eventually we hook it again. And after probably the longest fight I've ever had with a fish, it's fun that I recorded it because it's literally over a minute of fighting, we finally reel in the glacier fish. Woohoo, there we go. Finally glacier fish, okay. That guy is hard. Jeez.
Well,
I then realized we have enough materials for the pond, but not enough money, so we'll have to build up some cash. What we can do is swap out our angler pond for our new glacier fish, since it makes a little bit more money every day. Also, earlier when we headed over to Willie's, we were able to pick up a crystal fruit, which means we're done with the crafts room bundles. The reward isn't critical for the challenge, but it is amazing to get access to the quarry. We still need a lot of metal for tool upgrades and building, so getting access to a new source of it is amazing in our first season. Well, whatever season means in a day randomizer. And who doesn't like getting gold stars for their efforts and a little friend to hang out with? It's super cute. Me and the Junimo.
How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
Moving on quickly, on the way up to the mines we picked up mining monthly, which gives us a bit of free experience. And today we're going to be focusing on iron, since we need it to make the magnetic ring, bait makers, and a bunch of other stuff. Slaying this ghost drops the ghost fish, so now we're down to just the sandfish to complete all of the fishing bundles. But the desert's a long way off. What's closer is this daily dust sprites quest. And now that it's done, we have to race down to the wizard since you have to turn it in. But it's worth it for 1,000 gold. Tonight is pretty special because we unlock the quarry and the mines that come along with it. 5 more bundles to go and we're done with our challenge. And that quest plus these goods should be enough for a fish pond. Coincidentally, we're heading into day 26 of fall, which is also our 26th day playing. It starts out like most of them by gathering all of our ore, roe, and uncommonly this maple syrup. There's nothing in the farm cave, the traveling merchant is barren, and there's no special order quests, so we'll just bring stuff for the fish pond, the bundles, and then head over to the quarry. We donate the maple syrup, a ghost fish, and these metal bars finish up the blacksmith bundle. So we just need fire quartz here. Since we also only need 1 more in the fish tank, we're getting close. And this furnace is only mildly useful at this point. What's way more useful is constructing a new fish pond for our angler. We'll probably want to move a lot of this around, but for now, this is good enough. All right, let's see how we are blessed in the quarry today. We got gold, we got coal, we got artifact spots. We got a trilobite. We got it all. Come on down. I need to stop playing so many days in a row. But there's not much more satisfying than bombing the quarry for the first time. We can thank that one mystery box we opened up with Clint for all of these bombs to be able to do this. By the end, we have a nice amount of stone, copper, iron, and gold. So now it's time to tackle the quarry mines, which are scary. You normally can't hit these until winter of your first year, and we're technically still in spring by days played, so these slimes are hitting us like a truck. Fortunately for us, we have a little bit of fish, so we'll make it through. And after killing the last floating skull, we're rewarded with the golden scythe. It'll come in handy for gathering hay once we have a lot more animals. For the rest of the day, we'll hit the normal mines to try to get down a few floors. And we'll stash our goodies just in case we die. Earlier in the day, we made up our first monster musk, and we'll pop it now to try to get extra dust sprites. Floor 56 ends up being mega overrun, which is kind of a mixed bag because it does give us a lot of experience pushing us over the edge to level 5 in combat. But it eats up a lot of our time this afternoon, and combined with this bat swarm, we end up passing out just before floor 60. A downside of stashing all of your goods is that you leave them behind when you pass out. But level 5 offers us a choice, and I love to make crit builds. Maybe one of you can convince me why I should try fighter. At the start of day 27, we'll clear off this whole area behind the house so we can move everything back a bit. We passed out last night, so we need to head back to pick up all of our items, and then we'll smelt up a bunch of the ore. Now that we're done collecting forage for our bundles, all of our extras can be turned into seasonal seeds to sell at a profit. And I've decided that this is a really good spot for our fish ponds, so we'll have to move our tapper trees elsewhere. These two will work just fine. If you're super paying attention, you'll realize that day 27 is a repeat of day 22, the 26th of spring. So all the items in the traveling cart are exactly the same, which is kind of cool because if you get a great day, it could repeat over and over. And the secret woods are super kind to us today, giving us 4 mahogany seeds between the slimes and the stumps. You probably didn't notice, but we've been playing this entire run without any magnetism since we only have 2 glow rings. So we're crafting the glowstone ring, which adds magnetism, which is so nice for the mines. We'll no longer have to run directly over all the items that drop. And let's make a single lightning rod while we're at it, just in case we forget on the next stormy day. It'll protect our farm and make a few batteries. The rest of our night is going to be spent smelting up metal. And the recycling machine blesses us with our first cloth from newspapers. I normally save my first 4 for the mill, but we'll never grow any wheat, beets, or rice, so it'll probably get sold for profit. And even without preserves bins or smokers, we're making lots of money. Day 28 marks our 1 month into the challenge, and normally is the end of spring. But we're so far ahead of where we normally would be in spring since we're jumping around seasons. I mean, we already have a room in the community center done, with 2 more 1 item away, and now 3 legendary fish ponds making us insane profits passively. If it wasn't for those dang crops, this challenge is definitely completable in a single year, but at least we've made some good progress. Back to the challenge, we're hitting the secret woods most mornings to pick up hardwood, and today we hit level 7. Since today is a rainy spring day, the rivers are chock full of catfish, and it would be really smart to target them with this bait maker. We don't need any more fishing levels to finish the community center bundles, but catching the legend and tossing them in a pond is a worthwhile endeavor. We're also going to bring all of our geodes and mystery boxes, because I'm feeling like a gambling man now that we have other ways to make money. And we've been meaning to move some of our things around, so we'll toss our fish ponds over here, and we'll move our house back a little bit to maximize the space in front. We're also going to pick up a workbench, because I'm tired of having to pick up all the components for every single blueprint. And sometimes, good things do happen to good people. This fire quartz means that we're done with the boiler room bundles early, since we didn't have to get down to floor 80. We'll open up the rest of the fun stuff and save the rest of these geodes since there's nothing really worthwhile coming out of them. All the new minerals are going straight into the museum, other than that fire quartz. I almost clicked on it. All that rewards us with some melon seeds. We'll probably just sell them. But after donating this fire quartz, it means that we have 2 full rooms done within the first season, which feels really nice. The reward for completing this one unlocks the mine cars, which is so good for moving around the map. They likely save us hours every single day running around the valley. And speaking of time, normally I'd stay and hang out with our little Junimo friend, but we've got catfish to catch.
Okay, bye.
Quick detour on the way, the chef's bundle needs maki and a fried egg, so we'll grab the recipe and a plate. And here's where it really pays off having a chest near your favorite fishing spots. Because villagers don't walk on either of these spots, we'll move the chest over and place down our bait maker. All we need to do is pick up our first catfish and then chuck them straight in. Wait a little bit, and we've got our bait. A little under an hour later, we hit level 8 in fishing, and we need more bait. It really is insane how good bait is in Stardew Valley if you're targeting valuable fish. And at midnight, the catfish head to bed, so this is our last one. But we are taking home 17 fish and have bait left over for next time. We'll select our favorite stuff and head home. And it looks like about a month of playing means all the trees can get mossy, so we'll have to keep an eye out when we're running around. Our catfish are worth a lot right now, but they'd be worth double if we use the fish smoker, so we'll save the gold ones and sell the silver. Tonight's another special night because we finally unlocked the minecart so we can zip around the map way quicker than we've been able to. And in foraging, we unlocked the tree fertilizer, which we really need for our green rain and mahogany trees. Perhaps less importantly, we unlocked the deluxe worm bin and some tackle. Also, I forgot how broken catfish are, but imagine if that was doubled. Day 29 is a rainy fall day, and that means we could target catfish again, but I'm not a robot. And it is decent luck, so instead I'd rather hit the mines than fish all day. But first, since we moved our house, it's time to do a little redecorating out here. This is how I like to do my workbench setup for convenience, and we'll move all the machines to make them a little bit more accessible. Now that we're reorganized, we can access the workbench for all of our blueprints. And right now, we need a lot of tree fertilizer, so fiber and stone are going to be at a premium. Tree fertilizer guarantees our green rain trees grow up every night and gives our mahogany trees a 60% chance, so we should have a little forest over here soon. We've also got enough materials and money for a barn, so we'll move our coop over and toss it down. It's definitely less work to do a second coop, but we need the milk for our home cooks bundle. The rest of our day is going to be spent in the mines trying to get down a few floors, because we still need to get to floor 100 for cave jellies. We hit level 6 in mining and make it 10 floors down to 65 before it's time to head home. And it is so nice not having to walk all the way back. The minecarts are friggin' awesome. Now that we've spread out a little bit, it's feeling a little dark on the farm, so we'll put down some of these free torches we got from the recycling machine and head to bed. Level 6 in mining gives us access to bombs, which should help us get down to floor 100 quicker. And tomorrow is going to be our 30th day playing, which feels like a good time to take a second to think about our goals. So far, we've made huge progress on the community center. So the top line item is of course going to be money. We need it for a couple of reasons. First up, we can't pick up this sandfish to finish up the fishing bundles until we get to the desert, and that's blocked by the vault bundles, so we'll need at least 42,500 gold to finish that. Second, we need to start accelerating our farm experience every day since we need to hit level 10 before we go for any crops. And since we can only gain experience through animals, we're going to need a ton of money for all the coop, barn, and animal purchases that we're gonna need. Currently, we're focusing on fishing to make money. So the first thing is to get down to floor 100 to snag that cave jelly and unlock the fish smoker to double the price of our fish sales. Once that's accomplished, we're gonna wanna try to hit level 10 in fishing so we can catch the legend, since its roe is incredibly valuable. And hopefully around that time, we'll be level 4 in farming to unlock that preserve bin so we can start making aged fish roe for even more money. In a separate vein, we also need to start upgrading our tree farm so we have a lot more moss and hardwood. It's a lot. For that, we're gonna need tree fertilizer, so we'll have to keep a lookout for the special order quest that Linus gives you since it unlocks fiber seeds. But that's everything we'll focus on in the next episode, because it's the end of this one. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a swell day.